Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Not 2020 with Not Barbara Walters. This is the podcast show for the average Joe, the Wrestling Diaries. I'm your host, Mitchell, the Crazy Man Roulane. Today I got a really cool guest on by the name of the Notorious B.O.D.
Yeah. I'll take that.
Is that right? Real quick, though, check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other platforms that host podcasts. We're also on YouTube for the video content if you're watching now. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more information. We find out on these episodes what people from regular society, what they're wrestling with and what they're doing and what their professions are and what turns them on. And today I have a really old friend of mine, the name of Mr. David Jefferies, a.k.a. Big Body.
Yeah, the nickname supersedes the real name.
It really does. So we were talking earlier, and I forgot to ask, do people still call you Big Body, or am I like the only person just saying this now?
It's become a thing to where if it's someone that we're working with, they obviously know the business name. So they're like, oh, this is Big Dave and Chase. And then it's the nickname 70% of the time outside of that. And then other people that just know me well enough that it's Dave and David. But the nickname still 100% is like, I'm not that in people's phones. Like, I'm about to be 32. I'm still just Big Body.
Yeah, I was talking to my fiance, and I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Who do you have on the podcast today?" And I was like, "Oh, Big Body." She goes, "Is that a real person?"
It makes you think that I'm a rapper, is what it is. And then this large, goofy white dude gets out, and they're like, "Is this him?" Yeah, it's him.
How I don't even understand it. Like, how on earth did you get that name? I don't even get it.
Man. I still remember when it happened. We were riding. This is super stupid. We were riding in my friend's car, going to hang out with some people. I don't remember where we were. We were on like 15th Street in Bessemer, going from Hueytown, and someone called my buddy Alan, and they were like, "Who's with you? Who are you bringing to the house?" And he started naming us all off like we were members of 3-6 Mafia or something.
Nice.
And he gave like some really bad nicknames to everybody except for me. And there was, it was Big Body D, is David.
Okay.
And that stuck. And the D obviously got dropped because I'm not a 1992 hip hop star. And it just kind of hung out. And then it was just metamorphosized. And I made it my MySpace URL. And then everything else after that, it just stuck forever.
Yeah, I think I remember that, your MySpace. And
Big Cool Body.
I think I was almost convinced
that was my handle
that was your
on
real
a
name.
message board with like in Birmingham, and now it's like my Instagram name. Like it does. It's just that's it. It's
I feel
the whole thing.
Like we were at a show or something once, and like you were in the pit, and I jumped on your back or something, and some kids were there, and they're like, "Oh, do you know that guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's my friend, Big Body." And they're like, "Huh? Big Body? What's his name?" I was like, "Big Body." And they're like, No. Like, what's his real name? I was like, "Big Body. I don't know."
Yeah, back in the days
Body.
of MySpace, it didn't exist.
Because I kept forgetting your name was
David. I had to learn
David.
my real name whenever Facebook became the norm, and I had people being like, "Oh man, I didn't even know who this was," and I'm like, "Yeah, thanks."
How old were you when that happened?
I was not driving. So I was like
so
14 or 15.
14 or 15.
Yeah. But I was like 6 foot tall at like 14 or 15 and like 200 something pounds. I was a big dude for a middle of the road teenager.
Yeah, I think when I first met you, Jason, our mutual friend Jason Allen. Shout out Jason Allen. You watch the show.
Guy.
You should watch this show. We're both your buddies on here.
I'm not going to say anything about Arkansas as a football team, but I know he would probably want me to. I'm not going to.
Their defense is pretty good this year, isn't it?
They're a football team. That's what they are.
Woo, pig suey. Anyways, the first time I met you, Jason introduced you. Like you were. I think you had just gotten your license because you're driving him around because he wasn't driving. And
I drove everybody around because I was lucky enough to have grandparents that wanted to make sure I wasn't just driving some car that was going to explode on me. So I had nice newer cars, and I stayed working, so I always had gas money, and I was always down to hang out. So there's your 3 pieces to me being around everybody, carting everybody around.
Yeah, but he introduced me. I thought you were a cool guy, and like I was like, oh, he goes to shows and stuff. And I was like, how old is that guy? And then Jason was like, he was like, oh, he's 16. I was like, that guy's damn near 28. Get out of here. He's 28. He's not 16.
I almost shaved my head this weekend, and
oh, that'd be super old school.
I would have got rid of all my gray hair, but like the gray is 100% coming in. Because I told my wife, I don't know if it's like sleep apnea kicking in, I'm dying in my sleep a little bit, or if it's the kids or the stress of business or what. But it's something because I'm salt and peppering out pretty hardcore.
Now you went to didn't you go to like Hueytown High or something in school? How was that? I always heard that Hueytown is a hole.
It was. I went to the old of a school too. Now it's torn down and they're rebuilding it into something else. I don't know if you've been there.
No, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, where the school was is just dirt right now, and like I think they may have it framed up. I'm not going to quote what it is, but I think it's like the intermediate school being built there, and the new high school is super nice. We were supposed to be the last class of Hueytown High School, the old one, and it went on for almost another decade. And it was awful. My senior year, I faked having a class at Lawson State and just left in third period every day, and they just never caught on. I have no clue how I got through a whole school year, and they were like, "Well, I guess they'll send the grades to us." Yeah.
Being like a really big guy and stuff, did you ever play like sports? You ever play football or anything like that?
No, I hated team sports. I didn't like football till I was an adult because my dad kind of ruined it for me. He was so super duper like hardcore Alabama fan.
Punched through the wall.
I mean, like firing a gun into the ground, running down the street with his shirt off with the Alabama flag. Like the parties were fun because there was a lot of barbecue at the house and stuff.
Nice.
But like I could not enjoy a game to save my life. And the football coaches wanted me, and I did not. I wanted nothing to do with them.
Dude, just sitting here thinking about this, as big as you were, if you started lifting weights, taking creatine, you would have been so huge. He'd be like the best. He'd probably like be playing for the NFL and like as a lineman or something like that.
Look, man, don't tease me with other timelines.
No, I'm just kidding, dude.
I like where I'm at right now. I'm actually really, really happy. In my life
but here's
currently.
the thing: like you're way too, you're way too punk rock. I've played football.
My fuse is too short for team sports too. I'd have hit someone with my helmet. I'd have taken it off and bludgeoned them. I'm really calm right now, but like there's a switch that goes off and I just lose my cool. It's chilled down a lot because now, like with other people's cars, I can't just like break people's things when I get mad at them. I have to.
So how did you get into the kind of music you got into? All this yelling and hollering. It's not even real music. I don't know, y'all listen to this hardcore punk bullshit.
My parents never restricted anything that I could listen to or watch. I mean, they were kind of like buddies more so than parents. So I was just wide open, and my grandparents would take me to the mall, and I could go listen to whatever I wanted to. And I guess it's just what I gravitated to. The first CD I ever bought, I still remember it, and I still listen to it. Well, now obviously in digital form because CDs. Was Silverchair. Remember that band? They were an Australian kind of like grunge band. Their first album rips. I don't care what anybody says, but Frog Stomp was the name of the album, and that was the first CD I ever bought. And I kind of just always gravitated toward that. Like the White Zombie stuff was then like Pantera. And then I would catch a few things. Because remember, you used to be able to like scan a CD in Sam Goody and listen to it.
Dude, those was the jams back
and
in
I would
the day.
go through and it would just, something would look interesting and I would scan it and check it. If I had the money, I would buy it. And eventually I had as many CDs as, like, you ever see all the music that Josh Bradford has?
I have not. No.
He was the only person I ever knew that had more physical copies of albums than me. But at one point in time, I think I was over 2,000 records and CDs. And I had them all chronological and alphabetical order because I'm a freak of nature when it comes to that stuff for some reason. Or I used to be. Lost it now. And I mean, that's all I had was pretty much all just like I had hip hop and on one end of the spectrum, then it was like punk and death metal and stuff on the other end of the spectrum. And then anything in between that just fit right in.
So when did you get into like hardcore music and the straight edge movement and all that stuff? Because I know you're doing that at
like 14, 15. Yeah. I mean, I listened to a little bit of this and that, like beforehand, like AFI and like the emo stuff that came out. That was pretty cool. And then I can't even remember what the first band I really got into that was in that vibe. And I mean, I've got straight edge tattoos all over me, so like that'll never go away.
Are you still straight edge now?
I guess I'm closer to it now than I was, 10 years ago. Like if we have, I think there's some beer at the house, but I'm not even sure if it's in there because my choice of drink is going to be lemonade. Nice. Like 98% of the time. I don't care to drink, never smoked anything. I think it's because I grew up, my dad had a really bad substance abuse problem. He's still a really bad alcoholic. And it was all just right in my face. So like if I wanted it, it was there. All I had to do was grab his keys, open his lockbox, which was surprisingly easy to do. And I think that's what kept me away from it, was watching that be such a problem. because it stirred up trouble in my life more times than not.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories like that too, like parents or older peers or siblings, and they're doing all that stuff, and it turns like because when you're young and angsty, then you want to rebel anyway, right?
Yeah.
So then you're seeing that all the time. So now you want to do the opposite of it anyway.
I was drinking in like middle school.
Maybe that's what I should do to keep my son and stuff off of drugs, and I'll just start doing lots of cocaine and drunk all the time, and he'll see that, and he'll be like. He'll be
Find a distant relative. Don't do that to yourself.
Super straight edge. He'll save the world. He'll cure cancer. Feed the hungry.
My dad is not a bad dude. He's got a great heart, but he is just convoluted, man. I mean, like, just he won't put down the bottle, and that was always just kind of like I said, it was super accessible. So like drinking, obviously I never understood smoking because in my head, when you're always taught like. Not smoke, don't inhale smoke in a fire. Smoke's bad. Smoke. So I just never even attempted to think of trying cigarettes or anything. But drinking was a real thing for a little while there, like in my teenage years. And then I just can't justify spending the money on it, nor do I really care for it anymore.
Plus, you're such a big person. I feel like you metabolize it. Like you'd probably have to drink like a barrel of beer just to get a buzz
we used
going.
To pound them. Like we hang out with like English Madden. And the boys
Shout
back
out
in
English.
the day, yeah, we
son of a bitch
used to just knock them back at this house in Hueytown we were all living at. Well, they were living there. I was there enough to almost pay the rent too, and we would not like Coors Light used to do the tall boy cans in like an 18-pack, and we would do like 3 18-packs on the course of like between 4 or 5 people, in a weekend, and that would just start at like 6 o'clock on Friday. We would just drink and order pizza in or send the sober like girlfriend to get some food. So I did all that in my teens. Because of course, like when I was like 19, me and Ginger got together and then we got a house and I got a decent job and we got married. And then my oldest daughter was born. So like I was a full blown like 30-year-old at 19. I accelerated, man. Ups and downs of that, I guess.
You going back to the punk rock root stuff. What was the first? Was Cave 9 the first venue that you ever went to?
Yes.
As far as like this underground stuff. It was my first.
And I went to a lot of other ones around the South. There was a few others that felt like Cave 9, but even going to shows in Birmingham after that, the vibe still it was close, but it wasn't the same. That was special. It really was.
I remember Norma Jean coming to Cave 9.
I didn't see that there, but that sounds bananas.
That was like, yeah, I think it was Norma Jean. Or was that? No, it was definitely Norma Jean. Because I remember, if I'm misquoting this, then whatever. But I'm pretty sure it was Cave 9 that they came to. But Thomas is at the show, and like he was like headbanging, and like the guitarist like put his like foot on his back while he was like because he had the super long hair, and this undershave. And the guitarist just saw Thomas up there at the front, and he just propped his foot on his back and was like shredding this riff out, and Thomas was headbanging. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That's pretty crazy.
I had some wild moments at Cave 9, man. Threw a lot of people around.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of brute force.
I witnessed some of that.
Dislodged the banister from the stage with a clothesline one time. I had the worst bruise ever on the inside of my right arm. It was just, if I went full swing, I didn't realize it was that close, and I hit it, man, and just pulled the whole thing sideways. That helped him fix it between sets. But it wasn't necessarily that, it's just teenagers. Nobody was really like super older then. A lot of those guys have chilled out a lot too. Like, I'm friends with a good many people from back then. Everybody, it's like it's high school and a box with a lot of aggression is all it is in there.
Yeah, man, this is teen angst, all that testosterone fueled.
Talking about people getting mad about like moshing incorrectly. I remember Jason Allen and myself and English, we rode out for Escape Artists, Josh and them's band, to play at a skate park in Alabaster, and they were playing with some very Disturbed-esque like mall metal bands, and
the Bondage Pants.
Oh man, it wasn't their crowd, their typical crowd.
The spike necklaces.
And Jason was out there just trying to show some love about it, and they did not appreciate how he was moshing and decided to shove him down. I tried to fight everybody, absolutely everybody. I went unglued because they'd shoved my buddy down. No one fought me.
Of course not. Why would they?
There were like 14 of them, and they were all just like, "Oh no." We were just trying to shove this short guy down.
I mean, I wouldn't try to fight you either unless I had a Ford Bronco at the time. You were just standing there.
I mean, it was ugly.
Those are some good times, though, man. I've been.
I couldn't do that now. I'd be like, call the police. I'm gonna go sit
a
down.
lot of like fisticuffs and stuff going on and stuff. And then, of course, if it was Cave 9 and you didn't want to get like Cave 9, I remember, man, it got to the point where like if you were on the first floor, then you had to move and get ready to get knocked down or do something. And if you didn't, then you got to take your ass up to the second floor. If you needed a break,
you went upstairs.
God, I remember I watched a guy like he almost lost his ear in a Blacklisted show.
Oh yeah,
his ear got cut and it was bleeding really bad. And somebody was like, "Dude, your ear!" And he's like, "What? Oh shit!" And his ear was like you could see it kind of coming off a little bit. Yeah, I don't.
My buddy sang. Did you know sang?
Mm-hmm. He was in
With Guns Blazing.
With Guns Blazing, right? Yeah.
He got like tackled in the mouth at a show. I think it was like This Is Hell or something. I remember him coming outside going, like holding his face, and he was like, "Man, I'm bleeding," and his front two teeth were just like pushed in.
Oh God!
And he was like, "My parents are gonna kill me." So they don't know you were here, did they? I think you were at a church show. That was the excuse. Everybody was like, "I'm going to see a band play at a church."
What's the worst injury you ever got moshing?
From taking a spill at the masquerade at a napalm death show. At least it's a great story. Until I just say that I just fell. I was like, I lost my footing and landed on my hip, and occasionally my left leg will just go numb, and it's done that for 14 years now. I was there for my 18th birthday. That was when the masquerade.
Were they headlining Napalm?
Yes, it was their smear campaign album tour, and I bought tickets to see the Acacia Strain downstairs, and they were touring off the Dead Walk, which is like 6 albums ago now, so long ago. And it was before the masquerade separated top and bottom floor shows to where you couldn't go
Heaven and Hell. Yeah.
And so I got an email from Ticketmaster, and it was like, your show has been combined with another show at the same venue, same date. No need to purchase extra tickets. The venue is honoring all tickets for all shows at the same time. And I opened it, and it was Napalm Death and A Life Once Lost and Arsis and Animosity. And there was one other band. There were like 5 of them upstairs and 4 downstairs. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because we got a hotel room. Like, it was my 18th birthday. I took a couple friends with me. Chris Lawson went with me. And my buddy Garrett. I think Garrett lives in New York now. Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time, man, but he went with me to a lot of different shows. He was my buddy to kind of travel with me. He went with me to one in Florida too. I went to a fest in Tampa Bay. That was really cool, and he went with me down there for that one too.
There was a big show in Florida that I hate that I missed that was headlined by Newfound Glory and Set Your Goals, and I think Stretch Armstrong, and I missed that show. Like,
Stretch Armstrong was supposed to be playing Ernest Fest as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were still together.
Which, whether or not, Ernest Fest brought all these bands back together for it, which is cool and all, but the tickets are excruciatingly expensive. And I get it. If you've got money for it, you can put it back, you know, but like, for a one-time deal, you know, I can't justify spending $600 for me and Christy to go to a weekend worth of hardcore shows whenever like we hurt the way we do just in everyday life. Like, does that come with a free Rascal rental? Can you cart me around in a golf cart?
We used to go to the Fish a lot too, right? The Interchange.
Oh man, I got thrown out of there more times than I cared to. I ran into Andy, the door guy with the long hair, here at AutoZone, and he came running up to me and he was like, "Man," he was like, "I just had to come say, hey man, how you been doing?" He was up there helping his dad work on his truck or something, and it was just cool. It was wild seeing him with short hair. I mean, once I got to look at his face, I was like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, he was like the old school hair metal dude that was at the shows breaking up fights and stuff. I almost forgot about that guy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, all the memories came flooding back.
Yeah, it's coming back now. It's coming back to me now because I haven't talked about some of these stories or heard about some of this stuff in many, many years. So that's pretty crazy. You still look the same besides minus the hair?
I mean, same build, his tattoos and everything. The tattoos in the face got a hold of me right there. I was like, oh, I know this guy. What's funny is my shop that I use, I mean, it's my buddy Norm's place, but I've got a key to it, whatever. And if I need to use a lift, I just go down there and use it. Is in the Interchange building, like where Battleground Skate Park was. And so like I still am in the Interchange like all the time.
Pretty crazy. It's so many. I remember like there was a group of parents trying to sue them because so many of their kids kept getting hurt because a lot of people from Cave 9 were starting to go there, and then they finally closed down Cave 9, and so all those
I moved away whenever that was going on.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I was about the time I moved to Florida was when Cave 9 was closing.
Yeah, they closed, and a lot of people started integrating over, and so many people from there were hate moshing all these like teenage kids, and they were going home with like busted noses and black eyes, and it happened so much that a group of parents got together and they were talking to the I forget the lady that ran it, and they were like trying to get it shut down or sue them or something. And
But that's not very punk rock of you,
yeah,
parents.
right, yeah,
It's not.
yeah. What are you guys doing?
How many hospital bills have you paid for? Is it just boo boos? These boo boos?
Yeah, if they're under 18, they have like what's that insurance that kids get?
All kids?
Yeah, all kids. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
So they're good.
My kids are
Just keep
on
sending
all
them
kids.
out there. My son came home, but you're good. Your eyebrow split. It's fine. Sew it up. We got the insurance. Get your mom to take you.
I never got cut in any situation or busted open.
I
had
got
plenty
my
of-
lip split once. Got punched in the mouth.
Yeah, plenty of bruises, plenty of bumps.
Dude, I
Um,
remember like I was throwing a mad like windmill once, and I don't remember who I hit because there's so many people in the pit. I just remember feeling someone's lip and mouth and their teeth, and it like cut it scraped the front part of my knuckles. So I know like whoever I hit, their mouth was probably just gushing because like it scrapes my hand, and I hit him so hard, and I was like,
you
damn,
would really
that was
catch somebody
unintentional.
with one of those hard hits. The person who was the greatest at that, oh rest in peace, Scott Edmonds. Man, he would just wreck people, and it was fun to watch because he would always he'd be out there like doing like cartwheels and backflips and stuff. That was always a lot of fun. Think about that guy a lot. I run into his dad a lot too.
Oh yeah, like his dad still live in McCalla.
Yeah, yeah. He hit me up for some work not that long ago to work on his car.
So going in now, you have like a business that you're running, like it's like a mechanic shop and stuff. Tell me about, or tell everybody listening about that who might not know.
Well, it's not even that we have the shop, but the shop we rarely ever use unless we just have to have a lift. We're mobile. So like not the car I'm in today, it's my wife's car. I don't dirty it up. Kids do that enough. We have a car I bought that was just for commuting when I was working for the city of Hoover, and was like, you know what, I'm just going to load this thing with. It was a $1,600 Chrysler Pacifica SUV, and the car drives great. You can't argue with it. But I was like, I'm just going to fold the seats down and load it up with oil drains and tools and everything else, and just go after it. And we can do everything but like besides wheels and tires, like on the spot. And I mean, we're loaded down with stuff, and I've got, we just hit the road every day, book appointments, and just go after it.
How did you end up getting into that? Like, obviously, I'm assuming that you grew up like tinkering around with motors and stuff like that, and then how did you get into just like being your own mechanic and all this stuff?
Just learning it as I went. I mean, because I've worked I worked in the parts side of it for Ford and for AutoZone, and then I went into an independent shop, and he taught me a lot of like weird witchy woo on cars and stuff. And I learned a lot of. It was trial by fire. Working for Rick was his name. He would just be like, "Hey, you're gonna pull this out today. You ever done one of these?" And I was like, He's like, "Well, you're going to today." So a lot of knowledge retention right off the bat, and then the money got tight because it was an independent shop in a really bad neighborhood in Birmingham, and
It was on North Side.
no, it was called Wahoma is the neighborhood. It's like over near East Lake. And I mean, like we had two of the neighbors get killed, like while we were at work on different days, like shootings and stuff. And it really, it was rough over there, man. But the people really liked Rick, and I met a lot of interesting folks. It just the money wasn't there consistently, so I went to a tire shop, NTB, after that, and then worked with tires and stuff. And they tried me on working on cars a little bit. I was like, hey man, I could do brakes for you, or I could do this for you, and then picked up him from just what I could there, and just tried cutting my teeth on more stuff and more stuff. And then I worked at the independent shop that was right there by my house. It's like almost in my backyard. And that was the one that Jason had brought his car to. And that place I learned probably more than anything because I had to run the place at a lot of points in time. It was just me and the owner there for the last like 4 or 5 months, and he was going through some stuff. So we had like the front desk lady, and I would help like manage appointments and close the place and take the cars in and order parts and keep up stock orders, and then still fix these things and learn how to fix them and build up my tools. And then after that, went to Meineke on exit 1, and I ran it for a little while, and then learned more as I went there, bought more things. Just kind of, I try and retain what I do. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm not just the guy who does timing belts, or I only want to do brakes and suspension. Like, and then I went to Hoover after that and worked on fire trucks. which is a completely different monster. I may as well have been working on a rolling house. Like the electrical is different, the everything's different. And
Did you get to fire the big hose? Did they let you fire the
I
hose?
only opened up the valve like once or twice, and it never was exciting as it looks in the movies. um, I guess because I probably didn't have it onto a hydrant. We were just pumping out of the tank. But that was pretty cool. And then whenever they let me go, I went to work for a guy. After about 12 days of working for myself, I was just like, hey, if any of you guys need some work on Facebook, whatever. And I was busy for 10, 12 days. I made the better part of, $100 something a day in my pocket and didn't really have to go anywhere or do anything um, outside of what I was normally doing. And it paid the bills. And I was like, oh my God, like this was great. So I go to work for this guy over in Helena. He's a good dude, but the shop was just like, it was a mess and trying to keep up with everything that was going on there. And then at the end of the week, I turned away jobs because people thought I was still doing what I was doing for that whole week. And they didn't want to come to Helena to do the work. So I just did what he had there, what was coming in the door, and I was turning them out as fast as I could. And I think I made like $600 and something that week. And I went back and I was like, man, what would I have made if I would have just took the jobs that came to me? And I was like $300 under what I would have made if I'd have just worked for myself. And I was like, you know what? That's when I called my buddy Jake to make the design. And I was like, I'm gonna just ask my wife like how she feels about it. Like, let's give it a trial run. If it sucks, I'll go back to working in a shop. I'll figure it out. But if it doesn't, then we'll just keep going. Here we are 15 months later.
Dude, that's so awesome, man, that you like started like your own business.
Even
that way.
survived COVID. Like pandemic shut down, like people were dropping off the jobs that I couldn't typically do on the go. That would take like 2 or 3 days or a week or more, they'd just bring them to me.
And besides the mechanic stuff too, you were telling me earlier that now you're getting into like the farm life. Tell us about that, Farmer John.
Well, that's fun, man. I mean, like the majority of it really is just keeping up with like bedding and food and making sure everybody's like in reasonable shape because farm animals really take care of themselves. But I mean, we've got 40 something chickens, 4 ducks, 2 pigs, 3 goats, 30 quail, 3 bunnies. My farm dog went missing this week, so I'm kind of really sad about
Oh,
that.
that sucks, dude.
You know,
Sorry to hear that.
he slept out there on the front porch, covered front porch, and he was always out there every morning. Then he just was gone after Tuesday. I don't know what happened with him. Nobody's seen him, which is odd. He's a Pyrenees. They wander, but yeah.
How long has it been now since he's been gone?
It'll be almost a week now. Because tomorrow Sunday, it'll be 5 days.
If anybody's listening to this in the area and they see this dog, make sure to bring it back to David.
Yeah, man.
Misses his dog.
He's super sweet dog. So someone probably just like made friends with him and just took him, which is kind of super duper because his collar even has his my name and his name and my phone number embroidered into it. So it isn't like, oh, he lost his tags. Like, no, man, his collar has the information.
I hope it comes back, man, or you find him.
It happens a lot over that way.
What's the acreage that you're sitting on? with your farm
Not as much as you would think with what I've got. Probably like with the house and everything, like 1.5. Like the animals have more space than we do inside the house.
You're very consolidated over there.
Yeah. We just went out from the side of the house with like welded wire fencing and ram poles in the ground. And everybody's got enough space. We got like houses for everybody. They got enough to graze back there. And I added on probably 100 and something square feet a couple weeks back. And we got my buddy that works with me. His dad brought his bobcat out and dug a duck pond back there too. So they have like somewhere to swim and the pigs can go roll around in the mud on the edge of it.
With having like over 40 chickens, I imagine you get a ton of eggs. So like, do you sell those or like you just eat them all? Or
Sold
what?
4 dozen today. And I usually don't sell a lot of them. We could try and keep our friends and our neighbors replenished. Like we have like reusable egg crates, and we will give them we'll just re-up them as we go. But look, with all the rain we had earlier this week, we didn't go out there. My wife usually goes out and checks around lunchtime, and it was just nasty out there in the yard because it's at a little bit of a slope. So the middle of the yard was like muck. You couldn't really even get around. The animals did fine, but as a person, you're really risking falling in somebody doo-doo.
Somebody doo-doo.
And I went out there today and it was pretty, and I was like, I'm going to pull all these eggs. And they used to lay in like 4 or 5 different spots, but now we've got this huge chicken coop. It's big enough to house my children. And I opened up the I looked inside of it and I was like, "Oh my god, that's a lot of eggs." And I went and opened up the laying boxes on the back and like hung the chain. I looked down and was like, "Oh my god, 3 dozen eggs."
Jeez
And then they
Louise.
lay off in this other corner where my house like nooks back to the laundry room. There's like a little corner they can hide and lay their eggs, and I got 16 more from back there.
There's something that they're so different about eating, like, when you have, like, chickens of your own and they have fresh eggs. There's something that's so different about
The
it.
yolks are brighter
Yeah.
orange. You can get like a double yolk in it too. They end up they just taste better. Like they're it's almost flavorless when you get store eggs sometimes.
Why do you think that is? What is the deal with that?
I
Just
don't
because
know.
the other eggs are refrigerated,
Well, remember
or
the washing procedure, what they feed the chickens and stuff like that? We use like just a normal mix that has like 16% like protein or something like that, or it's got a percentage in it. My wife keeps up with this. I pick it up, I feed it to them, and then we use like a scratch grain too, like a corn or something like that out there with them. And then obviously they have free range of whatever insects they want to scratch and eat because they're free range for the most part. I mean, they've got several hundred square feet just to meander about wherever they want to.
oh,
Only when it's cold,
are they
stuff them
are they
in.
all hens, or do you have some roosters in there?
That
Or?
we have some Bantam chickens that there's 3 of them are roosters in the Bantams. There's 4 of those. And they're so small they don't really contend with anybody. They're those little stumpy feather-footed birds. And then there may be 1 or 2 more in the other breeds we've got. But our big yard rooster named him Big Ron. He's like I saw the chickens that walked up on me out here, and I know you've seen them too, the brown ones. That rooster out there is probably a third the size of mine. He is a direct descendant of a dinosaur. And,
Holy
and he's
crap, dude.
a black Australorp. So he's like black with like these like monochrome looking feathers, like they're like greenish and purplish like hues to him when the sun hits him. And he's monstrous, man. He's probably like knee height to me and just beefy.
Did you give him a name?
Well, my kids did
Okay.
kind of. It was Big Ron.
Oh, it's just Big Ron.
That's it.
It's Big Ron.
Big Ron come after you. He tried to come after me one time and I put a boot to him. You know, the hens are doing me a favor. I don't have to keep the rooster. I can eat him. I haven't killed any birds though.
He's trying to assert his male dominance, man. Alpha male.
Yeah, he went after my boy out there one time. But sometimes Maverick gets a little wild, and he may deserve a little chasing from a chicken. He gets a little too nosy with the birds.
Did you name the other 41 chickens?
We put little bands on their ankles with colors on them, but they've all turned dirt colored. So we were going to name them based off the colors, and that just did not hold.
Blue, yellow, green, red.
Well, it was just enough for like, because the red chickens, we couldn't tell them apart. All the hens, they all looked the same except for like one that was really white on its back. And then we hatched a bunch of their eggs between Ron and the other birds. And I've got 13 that are like born and bred on our farm.
So what do you want to, like, with what you're doing now? You're getting into like the farm thing, and you have like your mechanic business and all that stuff. What is it? Do you have any like big goals or aspirations for where you want to be? Like what's your dream look like with that stuff?
Well,
I'm
the farm
assuming
it's
based
kind of
on-
a hobby, more fun than anything else. You know, we have some animals that, you know, can make us a few bucks. The quail eggs, we pickle them and sell them. Chicken eggs, we sell them. But we're not really in it to make a profit. It's just more fun. It gives the kids something to do. And it's not expensive to keep them up. Tractor Supply is a wonderful place with really affordable food. But the mechanic stuff, really, it would be nice to at some point just have like 1, 2, maybe 3 teams of guys, you know, 2-man teams just running appointments. We're almost to the point now where I look at Chase and I'm like, man, we really could use a second car of dudes. Like, it gets really covered up sometimes. We manage to make it work, and typically finish up by 5 o'clock every day,
And your business, does it run Monday through Sunday or
Monday through Friday.
Monday through? So you got the weekends off. That's good too, man. It's a hell of a setup right there, bro.
Yeah, if I do the weekends, it's a rarity.
Yeah, just for specific cases or your friends or something like that.
But the quail eggs were kind of a weird thing for us to pick up. I didn't realize that pickled quail eggs were such a yeehaw delicacy.
Oh yeah, I didn't either. I'm
Good
just
old
now
boys
learning
like
this.
'em. Remember Colby Norris?
Yes.
The Blake that she's married to now, he came over and helped us move the chicken coop over. He's a big old boy, and he's a good dude. And I told him, you know, we pickled quail eggs, and he was like, "That is my thing."
That's my eats.
So I was like, "Yeah, we'll have you a quart jar of them whenever you're ready." I mean, I don't know if you realize how big a quart jar is, but I mean, like, it's a jar.
Yeah, that's a lot of
It's like
eggs.
60 eggs.
Because
So
those eggs are so little.
yeah, exactly. And we I had like 60 of them in a jar, and he was just so excited to pick them up. Like, and people really like the ones that my wife makes. And but I have no interest in even trying them.
You don't like them?
No, I was
Oh,
like,
you've never had
we
them?
made test jars of them. I don't do deviled eggs or hard boiled eggs anyways.
That's surprising. I love that stuff.
Um,
It's the only like. Do you like deviled eggs, Matt?
Yeah, sure.
You're weird, man.
I got tons of eggs.
I'm just kidding.
All right, there are two things I keep in my house all the time. One is eggs, and the other is pickles. And my girlfriend really hates both, and I just have an ample supply of them in my house.
At 31 years old, ate pickles that weren't fried and enjoyed them for the first time in my life like a week ago.
No way. On what? Like just
We
fried?
went
Like,
to Hattie B's downtown, and we got is it the Dirty Bird fries? It's like crinkle cut fries with like the hot chicken cut up in nugget form with pimento mac and cheese on it. And it had some real thick kosher dill slices. And I was like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. See how I like this. And it was hitting. I ate every single one of them. And I'm not a fan. I'll do fried pickles. It's just something about like the texture and taste. The friedness like knocks some of the bitterness of a pickle out. So
I mean, hey, I guess it's not for everybody. You're like the first person that I've talked to that didn't like deviled eggs. I think.
it's never. And Christy apparently makes some really good ones. And I'm not going to take her up on it. It just seems weird to me.
Christy, I will eat his share. Just send him this way. Dude, speaking of hot chicken, have you ever had like Nashville chicken? I guess maybe that's the same thing.
Yeah, yes, it's the same idea. And you get some that are like super saucy, some that's like in the breading and the batter, and then the KFC version's like crazy saucy. And then like Hattie B's is a hot chicken place, and you can get it like sauced or you can get it like fried, and it's like in the batter. My favorite is Eugene's though.
The first time I had it, my friend Monica, she's from New York. She's moved down here, but she's a big cook, and she always cooks stuff and like invites people over and gives food out. And she made me some Nashville chicken, and I was like, "What is? I don't get what this is." And I was like, "Oh, I need more of this. This is so delicious, Nashville chicken."
If you've never done Eugene's, go to the one in Hoover because it's a little more low key than trying to get downtown. Man, the hot is hot, straight up. Mild is a little more eatable. I used to be a hot food guy, but now like that I'm getting old, so like heartburn coming for me hard.
just drink a liter of vinegar, you'll be all right.
Oof, sounds awful.
He went woof. All right, man. I want to get to the part of the show that gets a little bit more serious, a little bit more in depth and deep. I guess as deep as people want to take it. What do you, Mr. Big Body, Mr. David Jefferies? What is something that you wrestle with in your life, man? Like as a person living here in the good old state of Alabama, or in general, like what is it that you struggle with, man? Do you have any issues that you fight with day to day?
You know, I don't get a lot of time by myself. And Thursday, it was Thursday, Chase had to take off because his girlfriend was having some issues with blood pressure and stuff. So he was like, "Hey man, I gotta take her to the doctor." It was a gray day outside. You know, I was by myself running these calls, and I didn't realize how much I get in my own head. You know, I didn't when I was at Hoover. I was off in a corner by myself, and I rode to work and home by myself. And man, I was in a depressed state. I hated everything, absolutely everything. And having a friend along with me every day is super helpful because even I love working for myself, but being by yourself can just drive you insane. Um, Especially just driving in the car from place to place. You know, I look forward to the next job for something to do and someone else to talk to.
Do you think that is that something that you have always dealt with, or just in your adult life, or like when you were a kid, did you have like?
Well, you know, I was an only child, so like my buddies, all my friends were my family for the most part. You know, so being alone was never really something weird with me. I don't know if it just wore on me over time, but man, I don't like to be by myself really. Like the music's got to be loud, got to drown it out because I get in my own head in a scary way. I don't like it.
No wonder you stay so busy and you've got so many things
I think
and
that may be
people in
why
your
I'm
life.
just so covered up. Like, I mean,
You have like you're like this like star, and then you have this universe just revolving around you. I've always thought about when I think of that concept, I always think of you because you always have like all these people and all these things going on, and they just revolve around you.
I mean, whenever you had messaged me about doing this, and I was like, "Hey, what are we doing? Like, am I cool to like go spend some time and do something?" Christy was like, "Yeah, that's fine. We won't do anything until afterwards or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." got to add that into orbit, I guess. Like, because it is. I mean, like when I get home from work, it's like go in and whatever needs to be done because the kids sap the life out of her most of the time. I try and help out there, and then we get that together. Then it's time to cook and eat dinner. Then dinner's done. We have like a 2 hour window to be a couple every night, and not just be like super parental figures. And it can be exhausting. I mean, it's the life I chose, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So obviously, like if you're dealing like not being alone or being alone is like one of the things that you have a big issue with. So obviously, the remedy to that is just have
Covered
company.
up with everything. Chickens, kids,
Chickens,
dogs,
kids,
cats.
dogs,
Was not a
cats.
cat person until recently either. I've got 3 of them.
Anything else, man? Any other demons in your closet or under your bed that bite at your ankles that you try to kick away?
No, I mean, I used to have, like I said, I used to have a real bad problem with a short fuse. I still get aggravated now, but it was like awful, like just angry all the time, mad as hell at work. I tore a door off the hinges at one job. Like it was bad. So it's calmed down a lot. And
It's
now,
funny because I've always described you as a gentle giant. I never knew you had like. I mean, I've seen you like throw down at like shows, but those are shows. Even like the nicest people are like punching people in the face
and
anyway.
it's taken a lot of self control, and I guess it was taught in a way. Like I picked up on it one way or the other through my dad. He gets mad quicker than I've ever gotten mad. Like if he's starting to work on something, the moment it doesn't immediately go smooth, he's just you dog face stupid second. He's just mad. I'm like, you missed with the screwdriver, man. Just restart. Like there's no reason to be so upset right now. So you watch that your whole life, and then you develop your own little short fuse.
Yeah, I think like my opinion of it, like people that have short fuses, just it's really what it is. Isn't necessarily a short fuse for anger. It's just a lack of patience. I feel
Yes.
like you just and I'm only speaking on this because I am a very even now like I still try to work on it, but I can be very impatient and impulsive about things, and I try to be like, oh, it's cool, just chill and just let it all things come to those who wait, right? So
And what's funny is people will see us working on a job, like, you must be so patient to get through all this. And I'm like, until something goes wrong.
you're patient until you're patient, until you're
What
not
gets
patient.
me is the things that are simple, like trying to remove a hose, but the hose is stuck on whatever flange or something. We had this older lady, my buddy Blake's grandma, or Buick, who were on site taking the top of the engine loose, resealing it, cleaning it up. It was leaking fluids. Big job, right? So we're there at like 7 something in the morning, and immediately I'm getting hung up trying to get heater hoses loose. I can't move anything else out of the way because the hoses are blocking them. And boy, I got fire mad. I'm at grandma's house. I got to calm down. So that's the benefit of having my buddy Chase there, is that he has more patience than I do, and he can step in unless it's something super intricate, and pretty well just take care of it with a level head, and it helps me out. I can move on to something else on the job because a lot of times there's somewhere else I can be doing something else on the car. Like he switched over to the driver's side, taking these hoses off. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go take the front and the belt drive loose from this thing because that's just nuts and bolts. I won't scream at it.
Right.
At least I think I won't. We'll
Right.
try.
How do you think that like your fuse like your issues with patience or anger and all that stuff got better with you just getting older or becoming a dad or
It's just learned. I mean, like it would still blow up at work, and then like the kids still push my buttons, but I do not. I try my best not to like pop them or do anything like that. If Maverick, my son, he's 4,
Maverick?
and
I love the name.
yeah, he lives up to it, and he's a great kid, man. He's full of imagination. He loves to build stuff and do things. He's outside all day, every day. But he has he has a short fuse too. It's probably an inheritance thing at this point because we're like 3 down in the bloodline. He'll get to where like he'll make him get mad and throw something at me, and I will lose my cool off that. But all I have to do is turn the dad voice on.
Yeah.
I
A
can
little
turn it on
aggression
from
in
the
there.
bathroom. Christy can be like, Dave, and I'm like, if y'all don't. And I'll hear him scuttle, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. We're taking care of. Pull my phone back out and just go back on to whatever I'm doing. Or my newspaper, as I like to call it. That's the newspaper now. When you're in the bathroom, is your phone.
Oh man, I mean, I could see how that would work. I mean, because you look like a Viking already. I feel like you probably didn't even have to say anything. You
Yeah,
just
stand
there.
up and then stomp one time off the toilet, and all I'm really doing do is get my leg to get feeling back in it. But I'm like, our house shakes. And Dad's up.
That's awesome, dude. Speaking of Vikings, man, there's a friend of mine that they do this. She was on the show actually, and her husband do Viking parties once a year. They didn't do it this year because of COVID and all that. but they said they're gonna get back into it next year. So you totally gotta come to this because I feel like you didn't have to put armor on. You just
No.
walk in there like, oh,
I always
this
thought about
Viking
like,
right there.
people like showing all their great Halloween costumes that I wanted to be Zangief from Street Fighter.
Oh, dude, that would be perfect.
Just like
for you.
a red unitard get up type thing with like, the USSR logo in the middle.
Yeah.
And I get to where my hair is like this long so I could
Shave
shave it
the
to a
mohawk,
mohawk for a
yeah.
little while. That'd be a good Zangief. Zangief with the power gut though, because he was buff.
German suplex.
I mean,
somebody.
this thing's hard as a rock, but it's mainly hard from fried chicken. So
Before I get you to plug in and I close this bad boy up, tell how many tattoos do you actually have?
and I
Have you
can't
ever-
count.
you didn't count
It's
'em?
probably like 40 or 50.
I remember one time you posted something. You said, "Oh, my legs look like a kid's sketch pad."
Yeah, it was this one, this leg. Yeah,
My favorite tattoo on you was the fork chasing the waffle.
it's
Was
on my
that it?
ankle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a little fade on it, man. I remember when you had first gotten that
Oh,
done.
man, it was
and it was
fresh.
fresh looking. I was like, dude,
The
that was
last one I did was a little Ouija board guy on my hand. We're talking about going to get tattooed tomorrow because they're running some Friday the 13th things for the weekend.
okay. Where
Yeah.
at? Where are you gonna?
Stay Gold. My buddy, I know a lot of tattoo artists. Obviously, a lot of friends of mine are tattoo artists, and my friend Matt owns Stay Gold, and I worked with a lot of the guys who work up there's cars and stuff. So I've run a little tab. So I'm trying to burn a little bit of my tab too.
Well, I'm going to get you to plug in your business, man. So anybody that needs to get some car work done, how can they find you? Plug in, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, we're pretty much just on Facebook for the most part. We have an Instagram page, but it all links back to the same thing. But it's Big Dave's Auto. I want to say it's Big Dave's Auto Alabama is the backslash from Facebook to get to it. But you can search for it. It has my big dumb head smiling, holding an engine, with the best caricature ever. And we've now used it, and we just did a giveaway. I gave away $500 in service and a free brake job and 3 free oil changes.
Sweet.
And my buddy Johnny went and put my head on Santa Claus and on Bob Barker for the ad pictures, which worked out pretty cool. But you can find us on Facebook. And the hardest part with what we do is just 2 people running around. So like folks will message or call us and like, hey, can you get over here and do this right now? We're appointment only for the most part because I mean, like next week, I think I have maybe 1 block open in 5 days. And I've got 2 covered on the week of Thanksgiving, and we're only doing 2 days Thanksgiving week because I've got stuff to do Wednesday. He's got stuff to do Thursday. So just cut it,
You need to do one of those like really cheesy like car commercials.
I do like
Or
the
there's,
Montgomery Mini Mall
yeah,
guy. Remember
yeah,
that
yeah,
old
like
YouTube
that.
video?
Come on down to Big Dave's and get your muffler fixed. I don't know.
We don't do welding. Don't do that. Don't get your muffler fixed with
Yeah,
me.
okay. No
We'll cut it
mufflers.
off if you want your car to be loud, though. I'll break
Come
out a
on
Sawzall in
down.
a
We'll
heartbeat.
chop your car up for you.
We got a few cool ones that we've done, man. There's one guy we've been trying to get it running. It was built in like Fayette, Alabama. It was a '66 Ford F100, and it's like a hot rod pickup. It's really nice looking, but it just will not crank and run. It'll spin over, and we've been out there like half a dozen times trying to chase this problem, and we finally got it nailed down to one thing. But then we found another problem at the end of that. Like it was just like a bonus level. And so now we've got to go out there and like do like real work on this truck. And I was like, God, we've had some cool ones that we've worked on. Even if Chase disagrees that some of these cars are cool. I have a weird definition of cool and he makes fun of me for it. Like we had a Buick Riata to work on, which is like a 1990 or late 80s kind of like Pontiac Fiero style, ahead of its time, but not really, kind of GM car. And I thought it was just cool as all get out. Pop-up headlights. It was different, and he hated that car. But it was fun to work on to me. I mean, for the most part, it was a good paying job too. But we got a Corvette. We're getting running right for my buddy. He just got a C4 Corvette, old '80s model, really clean. And we're going back out there this week and finish it in. A few other things, but that's the hardest part of that is we get those jobs piling up like that, and then with people who contact us and we're like, hey, we're appointment only. It's 2 guys. You may luck up and we're in the right area and we can come by and like take a look at it, but I can't just have to go pick up parts. We're not a rolling parts store. I place orders and pick them up as we go, So I really got it down to a pretty well old machine at the moment, but it can be a mess sometimes.
Nice. Any special shout outs before we sign off here, man? That anybody you want to say hey to?
Oh, I don't know. We called pretty much everybody.
Yeah, I guess we did. We did
We
call
went
a lot
through
of
the
people out.
nostalgia roll call.
Yeah, so people heard your name. Hey, you heard your name. Party time.
You know how to find me. And you don't have to get an oil change.
Also, when the show comes out, ladies and gents, I'm going to like post a link to his Facebook page. And do you have a website? I don't know if you said that.
No, not a website. Just like I said, just the Instagram. I think there is someone force created a Yelp page for me by like leaving a review. I had to claim it before someone else claimed it and made me look like a fool.
So I'm going to post like all this stuff so people can find your mechanic stuff. And I guess they can also contact you if they want to get some eggs or quail eggs or.
We do it all. We'll deliver eggs.
He's going to have a petting zoo also at some point.
I don't bring the goats with me though, so don't get excited about that.
Big Body, thank you so much for being on the show, buddy. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have you back at some time in the future. Chat
and if you ever just want to come like try and wrangle a pig or something, I mean, we got you, boss.
Yeah, I definitely want to come see your like David's farmhouse, funny farm.
Yeah, I mean, it's my house because when you pull up, I've got a Chase's, which was my old Suburban, backed into a corner, a car under a car cover over here. There's like a 69 Eldorado in the carport. There's a Mustang Cobra on jack stands and like another pickup in the yard, a couple more cars over here. Like it looks like I live there. If you listen to this and hear everything that I say about my life, then you'll be like, oh, that's definitely where he lives. If it's not, it's some other maniac that his wife wants to kick him out for all the crap he has everywhere.
Don't go over there, ladies and gentlemen. He's got bodies in the basement. I'm telling every morning, everybody now.
They said pigs will just eat all of it. So, I mean, I've got some pigs out there.
Hey, actually,
ours are really docile, though. I mean, I can't even really get up on them. They want to play.
Yeah, you've got a great backdrop to be a serial killer with your farm and your pigs and all this stuff.
Oh, man. I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to. There's some places next door to me that look like very Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well. So we'll just say that.
Excellent.
It fits right on in.
Roll Tide, roll. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching another episode. David, as you can tell, is a really good friend. We're just shooting the breeze here. Check us out on YouTube, all the other podcast platforms we're on, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Pocket Cast, Google Podcast.
And you are everywhere.
Check it out. Come on there. Follow, like, subscribe. Tell your friends about us. What do you wrestle with, and how can you beat it? How does that go? May your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness walk through your door in honor of Scott Edmonds. One love.
Man.